love and longing. I'm just saying, man, I'm surprised that the equipment is compatible with literal turtle women. Gorgeous or not, shell or not, the fact that our keys fit the lock is a hell of a thing, Vernon's patrol partner states. He doesn't know the man well. Sergeant Stiles isn't as forthright into the ninja stuff as some of the others, and off patrol just went with the group. This was the first time him and Vernon were teamed up, and the man was proving to be the type that needs constant conversation when there's nothing immediate required. It's exhausting. They're walking a kilometer, teleporting to another part of the forest and then walking again. It keeps them in fine shape, gives them meat rather than plant eyes on the ground at the forest perimeter, and lets them respond fast. You seriously need to look into the research that's already been done. Some race, likely the Tret, put what's basically a blueprint into the axiom itself. It's why every sentient race is generally compatible. Axiom is a shortcut, and that shortcut has an easy-to-follow blueprint in it. So of course, the parts are going to match. It's freaking standard issue. Vernon replies as he thinks back on it himself. Of course, he hadn't mentioned the dozens of different interpretations of the theory, including the ones that had it so that Trets were a side effect of this standard blueprint rather than potential architects of it. Then how the hell did we get it? That's what I'm asking. We evolved without axiom influence. If there's one species that should not fit the galactic mold, that should not be able to breed with the rest of the galaxy, it's humanity, but we're mistaken for one of a dozen races at a glance. All right, first off, that was going to happen no matter what. Parallel evolution. If a certain type of life pops up once, you're going to get its knockoff sooner or later. Successful strategies and plans get used. Vernon answers holding up one finger, then he raises a second. Then you need to remember that null is axiom, just so dense that it can't be actively used. There's been some theory crafting that the human legends of magic and stuff may have been times when Earth was not in cruel space. The place has been known to shift, but even cooler is the theory that there may be the occasional extreme axiom adept born that can use null with enough exposure to it. Then why didn't they teach anyone or start up a tradition of things? Who's to say they didn't try? It's all theory, though. Nothing's proven. Even the most dense and resistant axiom constructs shatter against even the smallest amount of null. You need to get into nearly microscopic amounts of null in order to not instantly kill a Gravia with it, and it's still enough to drop most other species to their knees. How are Gravia the most resistant to null? It's hard to explain. The older a Gravia gets, the greater her chance of. Vernon begins before both of them feel something from the forest. They're closest, so they pick up the pace, and within a minute, arrive to see a small group of children just beyond the tree line. They're technically not in the forest, but they're over the roots, which is close enough. Vernon looks at Stiles, who shrugs but offers no insight. Vernon sighs. Okay, fine. I'll take the lead. He uses a twist of axiom to store his gear to appear less intimidating, but there's still a gasp from the tiny mob of children as he steps out from behind a tree. He holds up a hand in greeting. Hey kiddies, what are you doing so close to the dark forest? Is something wrong? Vernon asks, and the small crowd starts whispering among themselves. They're at the age where you can't really tell apart boys and girls beyond hairstyles and clothing. And unless there's a couple tomboys there in the middle of the crowd, there's only 3 boys among the dozen children, which, to be fair, is actually a lot for APUC demographics. Then one little girl steps forward. She's likely the oldest, as she's a touch taller than the rest, and she plants her fist on her hips and glares up at him imperiously. Vernon can barely resist gushing at how cute the image is. Her pigtails really aren't helping her look scary. You know, we can't actually answer any questions unless you ask one half size, Stiles says as he walks out himself. The little girl takes a step back and then rallies herself and crosses her arms. Is there a town of sorcerers? Yes, Vernon says. Well, a village, actually. Styles answers. What do you rugrats want with it? She turns back to face the crowd and it parts a bit. You can make them sorcerers, right? Without bad things happening first? Where did you hear that? Vernon asks, vaguely curious. Equal sign. Can you? She demands. Where did you hear it? Styles pushes and Vernon sighs. Yes, there is a village for sorcerers deep within the forest. If you're not one of us, then Centris is closer. Centris. Wait that. That's another world, right? It's the center of galactic politics. Weird name, the girl says. Centris was the center before galactic trade was made as a language, so it became inspiration for one of the words, Styles says, and Vernon gives him an odd look. I go on archive binges for all sorts of things. All right, but why are you children so close to the dark forest? Aren't Apuk supposed to be scared of it? Vernon teases, and the girl stomps up in a fury and tries to glare at him. Child, I wrestle wild animals for food and bring the choice cuts to my wife and children. You don't look scary. You look adorable. She crosses her arms and looks away with a pout on her face. Yes, because that's not also enormously cute. I'm not cute. I'm strong. Among your friends, I'm sure you are, but you're not even half grown and I'm fully grown. You're a cute little girl and there's nothing you can do about it. Styles taunts her and Vernon gives him a side look. All right, you know where you are and we answered your question, Vernon says, crouching down. Now why are you here? Does it have something to do with those 3 boys with you? Can you make boys into sorcerers without them vanishing for 10 years or their families dying? Was the swift judgment just a one-off thing? The girl demands. The swift judgment? Vernon asks in amusement. You're not talking about Cal's Tarn, are you? There's something off about the situation that he can't quite put his finger on. Something subtle he can't outright detect and something that Styles is either ignoring or hasn't picked up either. On the surface, it looks like a gaggle of girls are escorting the delicate little boys to the dark forest in hopes of making them stronger with the new way that sorcerers are being made. Something like this would, of course, spread through the public consciousness fairly quickly, which leads to a very interesting question. Does it hurt? One of the boys asks from the middle of the crowd. Do you need to have something bad happen to you to become a sorcerer? No, Vernon says. Is that what they say? That you can only be a sorcerer if something bad happens to you? Well, you came out of cruel space, right? And all the other sorcerers had bad things happen to them. You just make it faster, right? The lead girl asks, and Vernon can see where she's going with this. We made sure to save his hometown and bring the perpetrators to him for judgment. Vernon replies, not mentioning that the little guy had run his feet raw and bloody that night. Also, living on Earth isn't bad, it's just different. But don't you die really fast there? Too fast to really grow up? She asks. I had plenty of time to grow up. I'm grown up now and I was grown up before leaving cruel space. He rebukes them softly. Now, what's wrong? Don't you need to have bad things happen first? Look, it's not pain equals power. That's just insane. It's that overcoming things equals power. Growing stronger is about getting better at handling things, and you get better at handling things through practice. Does this make sense? He asks, and he can all but hear the whistling noise as the point goes right over everyone's heads. He sighs. So, who are our prospective sorcerers? The leader of the little group stalls out a bit. I need to know how hard it is first. Depends on who you are. You'll never know if you don't try, Vernon states before standing up. Now come on, you want to see? Let's see then. But, the girl says, will it hurt them? All they have to do is touch a tree, Vernon assures her. Really? Then why are sorcerers so rare? Because most of them were boys who ran away from home. There aren't that many boys, so they tend to be treated well, so not many run away from home, which means that not many people, of a people where there aren't many of them. Makes sense, he says, and she looks back. Why are you so protective anyways? Who are you? Who are you then? She demands, and he rolls his eyes. Seriously, kid, you need to relax. You're gonna make enemies if you challenge everything and everyone your whole life, Styles says as he spreads the influence of the forest upwards from the roots below them. Flowers start to bloom among the children, who start stepping oddly and then trying to scatter. The forest connects to the boys immediately, and Vernon stands and shares a look with Styles. Poverty. A terrible fate. But from what the three boys remember of guards and officers visiting their homes many times, they may be the children of criminals. There's also the memory of a cobbled-together air car and a long day's travel to get here, and no concern about being missed. Neglectful parents. Absent ones. They don't get anything more from the boys, as the defense comes up by reflex and the forest isn't shown anymore. So that's what's going on, Vernon says, and a small fist slams into his mid-thigh as the little girl tries to protect the boys. She goes to hit him again, and he catches her arm. That's enough of that. You want our help? Then let us give it. For goodness sakes, girl, calm down. We can help all of you girls, Styles says, kneeling down. But you need to tell us everything. But we're not supposed to, one of the boys says. Says who? Vernon asks. Mom. The boy shyly answers before the leader girl shoves her way between them again. Styles grabs the girl by the horns, picks her up, and moves her out of the way. Calm down, girl. We're helping you. Stop getting in the way, Styles tells her after he puts her down. No, I won't let you hurt my cousins, she declares, shifting back in the way. Do you want our help or not? Vernon asks. Well, you. She openly looks up and down at their uniforms. You're military, right? Yes, we're part of the undaunted military, Vernon says, and she backs away. The kids get ready to run. Do you not want help? Not from you. The leader calls out, and they all start running. Neither man gives chase as they share another look. Well, that was weird. Do we tell them that the boys have been accepted and we can find them wherever now? Oh yes, let's cause the already skittish and mistrustful children to panic as we keep showing up out of nowhere. That's a wonderful idea. Vernon mocks him. Okay, cool it. It's just putting the option out, Styles says. So, you saw it too, right? They shared memories with the forest. Unfortunately, shared memories isn't exactly enough to send out an investigation for Child's Protective Services. Not to mention they already have a very poor opinion of official power. Vernon muses. And we have a patrol to get back to. They're leaving the perimeter, and problem or not, we can only log it and move back to patrol, Styles says, and Vernon consider. True. Still, Vernon says before shaking his head. He doesn't know exactly what the proper and legal course of action here is, so he'll ask someone he knows will have a good answer, even if not the correct one. His wife, of course.